Chapter 44. Here's a memory. I don't know when it was exactly. Not that long before we buried the bucks. Not that long before everything. It was spring, but the warm kind. The kind of spring that's already trying sometimes to be summer. We went for a hike, all 5 of us, just up in the hills around Poplin Springs. It was something we did. We walked up the dirt trail, up out from the valley floor, up to the tops of the hills where we could see the distant mountains and the bends of the river, and the town laid out below us all miniature. It was steep and it was long, but we could see forever up there, it felt like, and a chance to see forever is worth the work. The slopes were green with spring's rain and sun, the grass long and bright, swaying like seaweed in the breeze. The fields were exploding with wildflowers, purple lupine and yellow balsam root and a little white ones I'd never known the name of. So much color, so much living, so much life up there that sometimes your eyes didn't believe it, and sometimes you even had to whisper to your own heart, no, it's real. It was heaven. Rodeo was there, back before he was Rodeo, back when he was just Dad, and I was just his daughter, one of his daughters. And Rose, her legs too little for the long climb, riding up on Rodeo's shoulders, and Ava, long-legged and long-haired, talking with her hands, and me back when I was just Ella, the daughter, the little sister, the big sister, the one in the middle, never alone back then. And Mom, oh Mom with the voice like warm honey, Mom with the touches that made everything better. I held my Mom's hand as we walked, hers bigger than mine, soft, warm, safe. Near the top I dropped her hand and ran ahead of my family to beat them to the top. The sun was just getting to setting, dropping down below the mountains on the horizon. The light was coming in long sideways beams through the clouds, slanting sharp and golden through the grasses, through the flower blooms stretching up toward the sky. I stopped there in the middle of all the glory. I turned back to my family walking up toward me. Mom came first, walking by herself. Dad and Ava and Rose were farther back, taking their time, talking and meandering. But Mom came first, following my footsteps, wading off the trail and into the grass and flowers to come my way. She didn't come straight to me, though, even though I wanted her to. She walked off to the side just a little, finding her own path. She stopped, off by herself, facing into the sunset. Her eyes were alight with the sun's fire. Her hair blew in wisps around her face. The sunlight hit her face, and it was pure gold. She looked off into the distance, and I saw her take a breath, a deep breath, and let it out slow. Then she turned her head and looked at me, looking at her. There was nothing but green and bloom and light between us, and she smiled at me, a sharing smile, a smile that was just for me, a smile that said all the most beautiful things that moms say to daughters, and I smiled back, a smile that said all the most important things that daughters say to moms. And you know what? I don't think I'm ever going to see anything in my life more beautiful than my own mama smiling in the sun. I got a whole life ahead of me, but I just don't believe that I'll ever see anything more beautiful than that. And then her. I loved her so much in that moment I could barely breathe. It almost choked me how much I loved her. And all I was in that moment was loving her. I loved her, I loved her, I loved her. That's it. That's the whole memory. That memory doesn't have any words. It doesn't need them.